MacVoices 2025 Holiday Gift Guide number 8, Part 2. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by our Patreon subscribers. Get access to the MacVoices Slack, the MacVoices Discord, MacVoices After Dark, and have your name listed at the end of each episode of MacVoices. Sign up at patreon.com/MacVoices. Okay, second round. What do you have?
All right. So the second one, I'm going to go low tech on this one. And for those of us who drive, if we're looking at, going through and sometimes we get the bugs that hit our windshields on the outside. And of course, we use the windshield washers to wipe down the windows. Or sometimes you go through a gas station and you work a little harder to get those, bugs that are really resistant off your windshield. But what about on the inside of your windshield? And if you think about when you're driving around, sometimes whether you sneeze or you I think it's the vinyl, the way it interacts with the glass. Sometimes you get that smoky glass thing. And at the bottom line is if it goes too long, it can make it really dangerous to drive. And that's not good for you or obviously anybody else. So something that I picked up, let me get the official name of it here, is simply known as a car windshield cleaning tool. And I picked this up off of Amazon, very reasonably priced. And it has a handle that moves. I try to get myself so it's not, there you go. Yeah, and so by the nature of how you can go in and wipe down your windshield, because of the hinge that it has, it allows you to be able to reach some of those crevices that you may not be able to reach very easily without kind of putting your car in park and maneuvering yourself to get all the different crevices of your inside windshield. So I found this to be extremely valuable, and I think everybody that may drive in your life could use as an excellent stocking stuffer. I believe it was right around $10, and it actually comes with extra cleaning cloths. So you take the cleaning cloths off, you throw them in the washer, and easily put new ones back on. I think it comes with 4 of them. And I got this a couple months back and have found it to be extremely valuable and something that I sit there and think, why didn't I buy this years ago? So that's my second pick.
Okay, so congratulations, you've now spent money for me because as soon as in fact, I may put this on hold and order it while in the middle of the gift guide because I have that problem that my windshield should be cleaner on the inside, and I hate going through the gyrations and standing on your head or on your toes or whatever to try to get to all the crevices. It's a pain. And so that looks like it's because I've even tried squeegees. And, that by the very nature of a squeegee, you have to have liquid and it runs somewhere, and that's not a good idea. So I love this, and especially if it's that inexpensive. Not only am I going to get one, but I think you may have just bought or suggested a gift for some other people I know because it sounds like a simple thing, but it's one of those things that solves a problem that a lot of us have, and I know I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking back, why didn't I get this years ago?
I want to know why I didn't know about it years ago, because I've been looking at my windshield recently, and especially because of the time change, you're driving more at night, and I'm realizing just how dirty the inside of my windshield is, and it's like you don't realize it till you get out on the road, and then it's like, oh yeah, I got to clean that next time I get home. Then I get home and I forget about it. So nicely done, nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to talk about something else that's made my life easier. I am the proud owner of an iPhone 16 Pro Max. I did not upgrade this year, and I'm not upgrading every year because it's just ridiculous. And forever, until about, I want to say a year ago, I put my phones in a case because they're expensive. This cost £1,000, right? And you drop it. Even though I have Apple Care, it's still a hassle. And then I realized I mean, my case, I have this case from Peak Design, a camera company, and it's a great case. Gives easy access to the buttons. It has Peak Design's little attach thing, so you can put a wrist strap on or whatever. But it's big and it's thick and it's bulky. And I said, I should use this phone as it is. So when I'm home, I have this. It is called the Belkin MagSafe camera mount for MacBook. Do you remember when Apple introduced the continuity camera system? So you could use an iPhone as a camera on a MacBook, and you flip out this little tab in the bottom and you lean it over, and this camera here is being used as a webcam. So I bought this at the time, and this was back when cameras in laptops, in Apple laptops, were not very good. They were like 720p. And I used it a little, and I never used it again. And then I realized that without a case, I can just open up the little ring that's on the back, right? You can see here. And I can just put my finger in it and hold my phone like this and not have the bit where you're putting your little finger under and moving your thumb. And it's like I don't drop it. Now, if I go out, I put a case on because the world out there is dangerous. But when I'm at home, I work from home, so I'm here most of the day. I'm caseless, and this allows me to hold on to it. It's not going to slip out of my hand if my hands are a little bit sweaty, as long as I keep my finger in here. And I find it really comfortable that my hands are no longer twisted. I no longer have that phone thumb that you get when you're in a bad position and you're scrolling and all that. And it's like $30, $20, and there are tons of brands that make things like this. There's one called PopCap, I think, which is a kind of, it's got a suction cup.
Yeah.
And then it's a circle, but it has to go between these two fingers. Whereas this, I can put any finger I want into the hole. And so made my life easier. I've been doing this for about a year.
I find it really interesting that you decide to put a case on your phone when you go out, but take it off when you come home.
My patio has hard surfaces. So if I go sit out in the patio in summer, then I'll put a case on because I do drop it out there sometimes. But if I drop it here, there's carpet in most of the house and I'm not too worried. The exception of the kitchen, which has very old flagstones, and I've dropped it a couple of times. But as long as 90% of the time it's protected when it needs to be protected or it's in a safe place, I don't worry. My office, the bedrooms, everything upstairs is carpet. So if I drop it, nothing's going to happen.
Okay. Nice. Nice. I love the fact that you've adapted something that is supposed to have one function to your own function. I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And it's not just that. You put the thing down like this, you can put it down on a table and it works like a stand, right? If you need to put trying to get the right angle for your camera though. If you need to put it to lean it as on the table, you can use it like a stand as well. So very practical. And, it's the kind of thing, it was in my drawer. I've got all these tech things in my drawer that I bought maybe to write an article about, maybe to test. And every once in a while I go through and say, is there any way I can repurpose this into something else?
That's a really good habit to get into. Because we're sort of back to the Mac Whisper discussion. You buy it for one thing, then you realize there are 4 or 5 other uses at least for it. So, yeah, nice. So my next 2 picks are going to deal with a bit of an obsession that I've ended up with, for better or worse. I've gotten into the habit where I'd like to have a stand or something pretty much anywhere in my house that I spend any time that I can put my phone. Because otherwise I'm putting my phone down in random spots and then have to use my watch to find it. And so if you have, a designated spot where your phone goes, if again, to your point, your TV room or my office or the kitchen or the bedroom, I found it makes life so much easier. And so I'm not quite sure how to help you with that. No, sorry about that. So I've been gathering up and experimenting with different mounts. And the one that I've been playing with recently, I want to make sure I get it right, is a Scosche product. It's the Magic Mount Charge Pro. It is a small, just basic little arm that comes up. It has a MagSafe disc on it that will hold the phone, and you can obviously change the angle. It is a charger, so it is a 15-watt charger, so it's not It's not going to fast charge my phone, but it is going to make sure that it just gets that little extra oomph, so that if and when I leave the house, I'm reasonably sure that I'm fully charged at any given moment. The suction mount, though, is the killer, because if not, you'd be picking this thing up along with the phone. But the suction mount will go on anything that even resembles a flat surface. My desk has, I'm not sure what exactly you call the finish, but it's not a super smooth finish. It's like a very, very subtle pebble, and yet the suction cup works really, really well to hold it in place. So, and it's pretty darn affordable, for a charger, because you're not spending all that money on the wattage or anything. And so I strongly, suggest that if this is a problem you have, if you keep leaving your phone places, and you want to keep it charged on a regular basis or completely charged, give this Scotia mount a try.
That's a good idea. I keep my phone in my pocket generally, unless I'm at my desk or wherever. But there are times that I do forget it, and the watch will help me find it, and that's good. Or it slips down between cushions on a sofa, or it gets lost. So that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's a first world problem, but it's still can be kind of annoying, and especially if you walk from one room to another, the phone starts ringing, and then, oh boy, where is it? So I'm running through the house trying to figure out, where did I put it down? Yeah.
And you're going between your situation room where you are now and your great room and all the other rooms of your mansion. So
yeah. It's that, the 35 bedrooms is, I don't think they do that here in the US much. I think that's more over in the UK where you are, where they had those castles.
Yeah.
My next pick is from a company that does have vowels in the name, although I've not heard of them in any other context. It is a Bluetooth numeric pad, and I just got this recently. I actually had one already, but I decided to get another one, and I really like this one. It's by far the best one I've seen. It's got both a numeric pad and it's got arrow keys, and so I'm using the Magic keyboard I showed earlier, and it doesn't have a numeric pad or the extended stuff. I don't like to use the big aircraft carrier keyboard. It's just too big, and that's where I want my mouse. But every now and then, like when I'm doing my monthly, bills and stuff, then it's really nice to have a numeric keypad, because I'm entering a lot of numbers. This one is great because it's rechargeable with USB-C. The other ones I have, they have little batteries that, they're always going to go dead at the wrong time, and then probably won't have that battery. And it's got a nice solid, like the keys are, I really like the action on the keys, and it just feels really nicely built. If you occasionally need to do a bunch of numbers, then I recommend this one. It's a little bit more expensive than the real budget ones. Amazon right now says it's $39. I think I paid around $30 for it when I bought it. Well, it says the list price is $60. Wow. I think I'm gonna get enough use out of it that it's certainly worth $30.
Jim, I have to ask, because I know a few people that are keypad snobs, and they insist that Bluetooth keyboards, Bluetooth not numeric pads, just can't keep up with them. I don't know how good you are, how fast you are with the numeric pad, but do you find any significant lag here with this one?
No, but I mean, my regular keyboard's Bluetooth also, so.
Yeah, well, that's been my experience.
And I type fast, as far as typing on a keyboard. I'm a touch typist, and I type pretty fast, so I don't have a problem. I have not had a problem with this either.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried this one, and I'm like you. I'm a decent typist, but I'm not, super fast with the numeric keypad. So, but I will refer this and see what kind of feedback I get on it.
I think I'm pretty fast with a numeric keyboard. I mean, I'm not like an accountant where I'm, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of it.
That
is
fast,
that, it's definitely,
you don't need you'd rather have a keyboard with a built-in number pad anyway. I feel like if you use it that much and you type on it that quickly, then yeah. But also Bluetooth has improved a lot over the years. So, it might just be a question of the connection being more reliable now than it used to be. Because I used to have trouble with just the keyboard, a Bluetooth keyboard not being able to keep up. So it's not like it's unheard of, but it's gotten a lot better, especially over the last couple of years, I think. So
yeah, the tech has gotten better.
I mean, sometimes it will just disconnect. I haven't had that problem as much with my M4, but with my M1 one, I would get that a fair amount where it would just like all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, the keyboard's not connected anymore. And you'd kind of like have to turn it on and off and on again. But as long as it was on, I could, and say I'm a quite fast typist. They used to do demos and people would be like, can we hire you as a typist? No.
Yeah. Only if you pay me lots of money.
I know, it doesn't matter how much you pay me.
Yeah.
Not available.
You can't be bought. I like it.
Not for that.
Okay, Kelly, round 3 for you.
So I went back to the archives for this one. I've dusted something off in order to use it as my illustrative example here. So, I'm doing everything but better, right? So one of the things that I have found over time is that gifts sometimes fall into like different sort of like categories, right? There's, the category no one wants to be in is a thing to dust. Like, somebody got me a thing and now all I can do is set it there and dust it. And that's all it's for. It's not a useful thing. It's not a thing I can do anything with. It's not something I can get rid of. It's not something, but it's not useful, or maybe it's not as cool to me as it was to the person who gave it to me, or I don't find it as interesting as they do. I mean, obviously you can see there's, which way am I going here? Like, you can see it's not like I mind having a little collection of things on a shelf, but I'm pretty specific about what I want those things to be. And I don't want to burden somebody else with like a thing that now they have to do something with. They have to put it on a shelf and dust it forever. They have to get rid of it and figure out how to not hurt my feelings, whatever. So one thing that I've noticed a huge uptick in for a lot of people also is experiences. And so gifts, but better. I'm going to hold up my ticket to see the Pet Shop Boys and New Order at Merriweather Post Pavilion a few years ago. And I'm holding this up because concert tickets are an awesome experience. Now, this one in particular, you can see is a Ticketmaster ticket, which I'm totally holding upside down. It is a Ticketmaster ticket. Ticketmaster offers gift cards. If there are places in your area, wherever you are or wherever your person is, that have multiple locations, then they may also have gift cards. Like there's a company here called McMenamins, and they own a lot of different spaces that have all different kinds of like performances and movies and all kinds of things going on in their event spaces, and they offer gift cards as well. So you can find someone that, like, somebody that I know for certain that Chuck is the hugest fan of this band. And so I'm going to go get him VIP tickets because I found out they're coming to town next year. Or I'm going to buy somebody tickets to a play or the symphony or the ballet or some other, like when Broadway shows go on national tours, things like that make it so that, and maybe you have one of those tickets. Maybe it's a thing where like I'm going to get Kelly tickets to see Super Diamond next year. I've never seen Super Diamond, but like I know Neil Diamond's a bit of all right. So I'll buy 2 tickets and I'll take Kelly with me, and that will be my Christmas present to Kelly. This is a legitimate example. They're coming to town in February, and I could not be more excited. Anyway, I do not have tickets yet. Hint. That said, in case anyone in case anyone who is actually buying me gifts is out of ideas, Super Diamond's coming to town in February. I unironically and unapologetically love Neil Diamond. I always have. I'm always going to. So it's just a foregone conclusion. I'm going to be there one way or another. But that said, concert tickets. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be like a huge headlining event. It can be a local band. It can be your friend is in a band and they have shows coming up, and you can give somebody like a gift certificate, like the next show that they play, you and I are going to go together. Or there's a band I love that I think Chuck would be really into. So I'm going to buy tickets for that so that Chuck and I can go to that show, and I can share something of that I love very much with Chuck instead. Like, obviously this is all like, I'm primarily talking about concerts, but there are lots of other kinds of experiences that are this kind of thing that you can share with somebody, and that will always be a lot funner experience than that time that my friend gave me that thing that I think is sitting on a shelf somewhere that I can't remember if I still have or not, or, you know, or the thing that I dust and kind of have to roll my eyes every time I dust it because, like, I don't know what else to do with it and it just sits there. So this is way more fun because you can always later go back and go, Chuck, do you remember that time that you and I went and saw that Neil Diamond tribute and how much fun we had when we were there? And, you know, like, giving somebody a memory like that, I think, is a lot more powerful.
I'm going to have to research this. I don't know if there's any, do you know, does Ticketmaster do gift cards?
They do.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah, really. This is a fantastic idea, and one I would have never thought of, because at the very least, okay, you buy them, you know, enough for a person or two people, and then if they want to supplement it, they just, you know, pay the balance. But that is a fantastic idea, and you're right. You know, you're giving the experience, and if you want to give them a particular experience, great. If you want them to pick the experience, that's even better. So, nicely done, Kelly. Nicely done, and something I didn't know existed.
Yeah. And like I said, if there's local places, they may, like, if there's bars or clubs or venues where you are, they may have gift cards too. So if you know that somebody really enjoys a particular, like, maybe there's a place that has a lot of metal shows, or there's a place that has a lot of punk shows, or a lot of tribute bands, for a completely random example, then you can just get a gift card for, like, that bar and just tell somebody, like, you know, tickets are normally $15. I bought you 5 tickets to go see shows at that place, or whatever, you know.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay. For round 3. Now, by this point, if you have multiple things you're thinking about, you got to start picking out the best ones. So is this a tech or a non-tech?
You know, I'm gonna let you decide whether it's tech or non-tech, because I think it could really fit into either category. So if you've ever had to go and light a candle, or you know, maybe it's cold outside and you're trying to get some wood going or something like that, and you reach for a lighter, and the lighter that you're trying to use, it's out of fuel, and you keep clicking it and clicking it, it's no good. Maybe it's something that you don't use too often throughout the year, and so it's in a drawer put away, and you're just not sure. The bottom line is, we can get real frustrated when we need something that we may not frequently pick up and use. So I found something that could be plugged in. So maybe it is tech, maybe it isn't, but it's an electric candle lighter with a safety switch. And so I found, let's see if I can get it back in focus.
Yeah, there you go.
So simple. It's probably about the size, the length of probably like an Apple Pencil, and not too much bigger in circumference either than an Apple Pencil. And I doubt it's going to maybe show a little zappy. No, probably not. But yeah, it just has a little tiny little zap that, using a safety switch, you're able to easily activate. And the best part is, it charges with a USB-C. And so another gift, I believe it was right around $15, and something you can recharge as it gets low. So different than one that uses fuel. You can save on the, I guess, the electronic waste, or even just the waste in general from a lighter that is out of fuel and is not able to be refueled. And also, if it's just something so small, something that may save you a trip down from the convenience store or the drugstore to go get another, lighter to use. And so having this candle lighter is just an arm reach away, and it's something that you don't have to worry about the fuel. If it's not functioning on, it probably just needs to be charged up. Charging it for a short amount of time, you'll be able to get going right away.
So to be clear, it's not throwing a flame. It's more like a stun gun kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like if you look at the way that like it has two, I guess you could say, prongs, and between the two prongs has a little electricity going between them, and that's sufficient enough. You're not needing to throw off a flame anywhere, but just rather to connect it to that wick, and so yeah, easily enough.
Do you have any idea how long it stays charged for? I mean, I realize it probably depends on how many candles you light, but ballpark, is it something you need to recharge once a week, once a month, once every 2 or 3 months?
Obviously, like you were mentioning, it depends on its use. I don't tend to light very many candles, and I've never had to recharge it, and I've had it for about a year. Although that may say something about the amount of time that I'm, lighting candles too. But I suppose though, if you do need to, it's with most devices now that we use being USB-C, it's something that's really easily able to be found and plugged in.
That says something about how long it maintains the charge. Now listen, I don't want you to demonstrate, please. Okay, but how safe is it to be around kids? Because if we're talking about little live electric, I was joking about the stun gun, but
Sure.
That kind of is the feel it would have. So is it recessed enough that kids can't get in there, or is it something you need to be concerned about?
I would say when working with this type of device, it's probably always wise to keep out of the reach of small children, just as a general rule of thumb. But it does note that it has that safety switch, and it takes two different actions. One is a push to push a switch going upwards, and then a secondary movement of actually pressing down a button. And when you release that button, it takes away the little electric charge. And so with both of them having to be in place, it doesn't allow you to say set it down and have it running. It needs to physically be pressed in order for that electricity to be used. Yeah, so I would say they've built adequate safety measures in there, where if a small child got a hold of it and you see them with it in hand, it would be very easily able to run over and to snatch it away real quick before too much harm could be done.
Okay. I didn't want you to test it out on yourself, but if Jeff Gamet were here, I'd say, Jeff, fire it up and just stick it on your neck and see what happens. But but he's not here, so we'll just have to live in wonder as to what would happen. But yeah, they're very cool idea, and especially like you said, around the holidays, it seems like a lot of people are lighting a lot more candles, along with certain other holidays, but especially Christmas and Hanukkah and all that. So interesting pick. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell. Was it or was it not a electronic pick or a technology pick? It was kind of there in the middle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, since you have to charge it, I would probably lean it a little bit to tech, but not too much, since it doesn't have any AI components right now. So
not yet.
Not yet. Good. That's nice. All right, so we're up to round 3. What do you got?
How many rounds are we doing altogether?
We do 4.
Okay, so round 3. I'm going to pick a game. And I'm pretty late to video games. I mean, I started playing Asteroids and Space Invaders back in the early 80s. So I've been around, for that sort of stuff. But I only bought a gaming console 3 years ago. I bought an Xbox. I just had never had video games. My son, who's 35 now, when he was young, we bought him a Wii, and I didn't play too much with that. And I've been discovering some interesting games. And there's one that I'm going to talk about, which is not just available on console, but it's also available from the Mac App Store, which is pretty rare because games in the Mac App Store are generally relatively simple. So this is called Stray. It was released about 2 years ago. It's a game about a cat. If you're a cat person, as I am, you will appreciate a game where you're playing as a cat. And there's games with cats, but they don't look like they move like cats. And I saw a video of the developers doing motion capture with the cat. And he had 50 sensors on him, like Andy Serkis when he was doing Gollum for the Lord of the Rings. And they had him jumping over things and running and walking around. And it looks incredibly realistic. It's a game set in a sort of cyberpunk post-apocalyptic thing. And the cat's trying to get home. And he has to go through these towns, and he's climbing. And he's got this little flying robot called B12 that comes with him. And so they're doing this together. And the story itself is kind of, it's not the best game story, but it's just so realistic the way the cat moves. Part of it's like a platformer where you're climbing things and jumping. Part of it's a puzzle game where you have to find clues to resolve problems. It's not very long. This morning when I was making my list, I looked at a review of the game when it came out, and the reviewer said it took me 5 hours to beat the game. And I looked at my Xbox stats, it took me 12 hours. And that's probably, because I'm just not very experienced and I don't know the signs to look for of that sort of thing. So it's not a game you're going to play for a long time, but thinking about it this morning, I want to replay it because it was really enjoyable. So it's called Stray. You can get it on console, PC, or from the Mac App Store.
Kirk, is it one of those games that is, I'll characterize this because I'm not a gamer, but one of those that is kind of a more casual game that you can just enjoy, or is it one of those that you really have to invest the time in to get the payoff?
Well, it's not a long game, but it's not like a game you can pick up and put down like Angry Birds, right? You've got places you get to and you can pause at certain places. But it's not a deep game like a role-playing game where you've got a couple hundred hours to get to the end of the game. If most people can do it in less than 10 hours, that's a few sessions, and it's not something that's going to make you have to delve into the mechanics and keep lists of all the loot you found and stuff like that. So technically a casual game is something like, Candy Crush Saga or Angry Birds, where you pick it up for 2 minutes and you play. This requires a little bit more. You have different steps as you go through it. But it's not it's not like Grand Theft Auto or one of these big games where there's a lot going on.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure we've had a game pick yet on the gift guides. If we have, it's slipping my mind. So you may have just broken some new ground here for this year. And frankly, it's one I've never heard of either. So that's even better. So cat people, get on it. Let's see. So I'm just going to finish off my obsessions. The other obsession I have is with power adapters, because it seems like now, not just for my Mac or my iPad or my iPhone, but it seems like now I seem to be acquiring more and more devices, or more and more devices are coming out that need to be charged and to have some kind of power brick. And I'm also finding that more and more of these are shipping without a power brick of any kind. They put a cable in, but they, what you need to have something to plug it into. So I keep gathering up power bricks. My latest acquisition, this is also a Scosche product, is this. It is the Power Flux 70 USB-C adaptive charger. It is a 70-watt charger. It's got a little bit of heft to it, but nothing horrible if you threw it in your backpack. If you can see it, 3 USB-C ports, so that you can plug it in, and it is smart enough to, if you plug in one, it'll take the full 70 watts through there and fast charge your device. And if not, it'll spread the 70 watts out over all 3 ports. And I really like that idea because I can sort of, even though it's a manual thing, pulling or plugging or unplugging the cables, I can decide how much juice that I want to dedicate to something. So if need to, put my iPad in full charge mode as quickly as possible, plug it in and let the 70 watts do it. And if it's a little more casual thing, I can do that. But I just feel like, I've started putting these in two of the outlets in my kitchen because that seems to be where I have the most counter space to charge the various things that come up. And those include Bluetooth speakers, electric toothbrushes. I'm trying to think what else. It seems like something is always beeping at me saying, charge me, charge me. My electric razor, needs to be charged. And so I've designated part of the kitchen as a charging station. And so if you have
we
that
can see behind you, we can see behind you that your Situation Room doesn't have much shelf space.
Yeah. Thank you, Kirk. Yeah, it just sort of works out that way. But yeah, so if you have the need, this is a great option, and it's not terribly expensive either. So, and I really feel pretty strongly when it comes to power devices about buying and recommending the names that we all know, because we've heard too many horror stories about things happening with the off brands or the really cheap brands manufactured somewhere that they don't have the proper controls. And the last thing I want to do is fry any of my devices, including my iPhone, with something that is less than safe. And we won't even get into the home or office fire potential things. So
yeah. Well, one thing to point out is that your iPad can't charge with 70 watts. It's going to use 20 watts, maybe at most 25. Same with your iPhone. So you might get 60 on a MacBook, but the charging that you get on most devices isn't very high. So you can easily plug in 3 devices and charge them. The other thing I find interesting is that your toothbrush charges with USB-C, your electric razor. My God, here, nothing like that. My toothbrush has one of those inductive things like a stem that you place it on, right? And my electric razor and my hair trimmer have different figure 8 plugs, the ones kind of with the 2 pins, and they're different. So each one has they have to go into a wall plug because each one has a very specific cable. So you're a lot better off. My Ring doorbell batteries, they have USB-A. Is that the older one? So I have so many devices that don't have USB-C. It's true all my Apple devices do, but it's going to take years over here to get everything on USB-C. I look forward to that day. The reason you're not getting power bricks with a lot of devices is because of the European Union that said you can't keep shipping power bricks. Give people a cable. Everyone's got power bricks. And companies are doing that around the world rather than have separate packaging, separate assembly lines to put things in packaging for different countries. And I think it's a good thing because you know how many power bricks I have in my power brick drawer? I mean, dozens.
I do too. You're right. But the trouble is for me and I've become a little paranoid about it after all the publicity about fires and, people having issues, is then unless I was smart enough, and sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't, to mark on the power brick what it came with or where it came from, is, now I'm looking at it suspiciously. And it's like, is this one from somebody reputable, or is this one of those that you see, when you go check out at the drugstore and they're in a little bin, for like $2 each. Those are the ones I want to stay away from. Power bricks in a
bin in the drugstore, Chuck? Come on.
Well, I didn't say I bought them.
You're probably thinking of the ones that have the little round pins, right? Where you bought something and it was some kind of weird Chinese charger to plug. Bluetooth speakers had that for a while, the little round pins. And you could buy an adapter with different size round pins to go on that sort of charger, I remember.
Yeah.
I think the world will be much happier if we normalize USB-C for everything.
I know that there were some discussions about that and arguments, and there are pros and cons about the standardization. But this is why I really like this. That's 3 USB-C cables that I can plug in there. So but you're right. It just feels like the world is moving that direction. I don't know what direction it'll move next, but is going that direction. So,
well, the USB-C plug is really versatile. You can do Thunderbolt over it really fast. You can send power. You can send data. The plug itself is fine. It's what the biggest problem for USB-C is you don't know when you see a cable if it can do power, how much, if it can do data, how much. If it's Thunderbolt, it's marked Thunderbolt. If it's USB-C, you have no idea. Apple ships a really slow USB-C cable with its iPads, even the iPad Pro. And if you do want to copy things to or from it, you need to get a faster cable. And there's nothing yet that you can plug a cable in to find out what its speed is and how much power it can handle.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I have my moments of concern as well, but at least we're partway there because we're moving toward that USB-C standard. So
we've got the plug. Now we just need the labeling on the cables. And
Exactly.
Ethernet cables have been labeled since forever. Cat 4, Cat 5, Cat 6, Cat 7, and you know what that means. But USB-C have never been labeled.
Yeah, and that was a big failure of the industry. If you're
Yep.
paranoid, you think they did it intentionally. If you're not paranoid, you think they just missed it because they didn't know how quickly it was going to change. But most of the manufacturers seem like they haven't addressed that issue. So
Yeah.
I guess we take it as it is. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.